In this blog about hair removal lasers, I tried to list the most popular lasers that are on the market. There's basically three different kinds of lasers for hair removal that people use. One is the Alexandrite 755 nanometers, which was one of the first ones. Actually, the first one was the ruby laser, which fell out of favor quickly for a number of reasons. One, it was just too highly absorbed in melanin at that part of the spectrum, and you could only treat really light-skinned people with dark hair. And the thing looked like a Volkswagen. It was a big device, put out a lot of heat. The Alexandrites came along at 755 nanometers, which is a pretty good sweet spot for hair removal because it's absorbed enough in melanin to kill the hair, but not as much where you can't treat Fitzpatrick 1 through 3s, 4s. So it's been a very popular laser for years. It's been around for forever. What owners of that device figured out at some point was that they had trouble treating the darker skinned patients because there was still too much melanin absorption. And so manufacturers of long pulse YAG lasers started marketing that laser with a bigger spot size for hair removal. Lasers are the best example I've ever seen of a technology constantly in search of new applications. So when these manufacturers using these that had these long pulse YAG lasers, which were typically used for cutting, ablating, vaporizing, used in surgery, really popular for that, found that market, they started marketing it heavily for hair removal. The issue became that it's very nearsighted when it comes to melanin, which is great for treating dark-skinned patients. But what makes it effective for that also makes it ineffective after a point, because the target chromophore is the melanin that's compressed in the hair. And because that wavelength is so nearsighted when it comes to melanin, if there's not enough melanin, it's not going to see it very well and do a very good job. So what a lot of users of this device, buying it just solely a long pulse YAG for hair removal, realized was that over time, when the hair became lighter and finer, it was harder to treat that hair. It's just didn't pick it up well enough. So usually what you see now is the combination lasers for those wavelengths. So you'll see a combination 755 Alex, and so what most owners do is treat the Fitzpatrick 1 through 4s with the Alex 755, and then the 5s and 6s with the YAG, or the 4, 5s, and 6s with the YAG. And those are really popular. When they first came out, they were a maintenance nightmare to get those two wavelengths to work together in the same box. But now they're pretty reliable. But there are maintenance issues you have to be aware of. The other popular laser is the Diode, which is at 800, 810 nanometers, which is kind of another sweet spot between the Alex and the 1064 YAG. So those are a different kind of animal. And I see the difference as kind of being, you know, are you going to drive a Lexus or a Mercedes or something, you know, two different kinds of cars. They're going to get you to where you need to go. They're just different ways to do it. So the advantage of the diodes these days is you can do it in motion, which means basically you're pulsing it 10 times a second. And so you're moving it in motion with really low fluences, and you're baking the hair versus flash frying it. And so that enables people to really treat darker skinned people very comfortably and safely, because you're slowly accumulating the temperature. So when you boil it down, you're just about putting in the same energy per spot size that you would with a single shot, but you're just doing it over time by moving it. So it's a cool way to do it. It really is. It's just different than the other one, than the Alexes or the YAGs. So they both work. There's some that now have combinations of different wavelengths blended in together. My feeling is, whatever you're comfortable with, whatever feels good in your hand and how you use it, and whether with the Alex and the YAGs, you have to use cryogen spray or cold air or ice or whatever. The diodes have the really nice chilled contact tip, so you typically don't have to do additional cooling. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. I described that a little bit in this video. So anyway, take a look at that. If you have any questions, give me a call, and we'd be happy to talk it over with you and answer any questions. Thanks.